jumping in here at the start of the pod with a little info before we get into the main episode. So, huge news. It's Just Coffee was nominated by Sprudge for the best coffee podcast in the world. This is incredible, and we couldn't have done it without you, our great listeners. So thank you so much. But I have one more favor to ask. It's based on votes. So please, can you go and vote for us? It's just going to take you 30 seconds. Head to sprudge.com/vote. That's sprudge.com/vote, or check the link below the video. And you just have to vote for us. It's going to show you a whole list of categories, but you can vote for them or just scroll down. Just scroll down to the podcast and vote for It's Just Coffee. Now, we have a lot of great competition out there, some amazing pods, but I'm sure with the help of our community that we can take this one out because that would be a huge win for us and really help get the pod out there.
All right. Rock and roll, guys. We're fresh out of MICE. This is the coffee break with the show director herself. We've got Lauren here. Ro is currently elsewhere. So this is going to be our first pod where we trial him linking in to the conversation.
You're at the home of the man of home of coffee.
That's it.
What a place to be. Welcome.
Of course, there's a big bird painting behind there. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Check out that.
Yeah, she's fresh. She's fresh.
It's just like an abstract version of Big Bird. That's my partner's. Don't blame me on that. That's my partner's piece of work.
Rate my art.
Relationship is about, finding a middle ground. Some things we just have to let fly on the wall.
Compromise, yeah? Compromise what every relationship's about.
It's true. It's true.
Do you agree, Lauren?
Guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure whose side I should be on here.
Yeah,
I'm on your podcast, so I probably should be yours.
Depends if you like Big Bird.
Yes. They're on my side, Sophie. Oh, there you go. Well, if you want it, it's up for grabs. You can take it.
Amazing.
Guys, we're just back from MICE. What an amazing, amazing couple of days that was. I had an absolute blast. I'm also wrecked. How's everyone else feeling?
Exhausted. Absolutely exhausted. Lauren, how you feeling?
I feel the same, but I feel so fulfilled at the same time. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I could probably go again. I love that stuff. Yeah, I thrive on that stuff. It's one of those places where you get to see friends, old, new, and emerging, I guess, when it comes to friendships and your business relationships as well. And when you get to catch up with some of those really old friends that you haven't seen in ages and you see them there and it's always going to happen every year, but you're still just so happy to see them anyway. So good.
It's the nicest feeling. Well, we're already planning for next year, so it'll come around sooner than you think.
I love it. I love it.
I think also, just before we get too deep into the pod, just wanted to give a massive shout out to both Lauren and Liam.
Ooh.
The amount of effort that you two put into that place was insane. The amount of energy that was coming out of Liam. He lit up that back corner of MICE like no one has ever seen before, to the point where I think everybody's kind of sick of his voice, if you can be.
Yeah, I think I'm sick of it, to be honest. And it's also left me. Luckily, we've got it back, after a day. But yesterday we were, I think KP said, I was giving off Mufasa vibes, I was very, very low, very docile, not much there,
I overheard KP, who's Liam's partner, who also works here, in the back. I overheard her talking, and she goes, well, everybody thinks that Liam's now God.
She's a bit mad about it.
We already thought that. Have you seen that beautiful man? He's glorious.
Hey, thank you. No. I think thank you for the praises, but I only had to deal with one stall, compared to how many stalls did we have in the end?
We had about 130 exhibitors.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as much as I can be over here being very proud of us.
How many
My
entrants?
goodness.
How many people through the
Yeah.
show? Over 31,000 people over the 3 days.
I'm going to hit one of these. Absolutely.
It was huge. Yeah. So far past our previous record, which I think was about 15,000. So more than
2x.
doubled it.
Yo, we doubled it. Yes.
Whoa.
That's huge news.
I know.
That is insane.
I'm so glad we get that bonus, Lauren.
That's awesome. Double.
I mean, you could feel it though when you were in there. Like you could feel the energy. It was packed. It was electric. So many people were just coming up to me and being like, "This is MICE. This is what it should be. This is great."
It was insane. There were times when I couldn't even get through the aisles. The queues for each stand were out of this world. It was incredible. The atmosphere was so good. I loved it.
Now, I just want to start off before we dive into, because we're going to explore everything that happened at MICE, how it was. But first, I just want to talk about, we did a podcast live at MICE with a really special guy. You just listened to the podcast previously in the feed, Arthur Carletwa. And we also had Ben Liebman join us, who's worked alongside Renee Redzepi and produced the Omnivore Apple TV docu-series, the 8-part series. First off, just what an incredible person to have on the show. I really want to get him back and kind of do a deep dive. Obviously, it was one of those shorter episodes, but still ended up going for like 40 minutes because he had so much amazing stuff to say. And Ben as well. We want to get Ben Liebman on, he's up in Sydney. So I want to get him back on to talk through everything Omnivore and everything Renee Redzepi as well. And he has a lot of really interesting opinions. But Liam, what did you think of that pod? Was there any major takeaways that you kind of had listening in?
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I think both combined, they spoke about things that were just like, that needed to be talked about, and with a level of tact and kind of, I think Ben brought it like a level of bluntness to, the issues from like just more understanding of like the supply chain and what it actually takes, and prioritizing the quality and like we take for granted. I think Ro, you really like were great and present with the conversation of like, there was a moment where you spoke about like, that classic moment in the cafe where you spill some coffee beans and just like we sweep it up and throw it away. It's like, do you realize that they are picked? Like the amount of effort it takes just to make 1 kilo of coffee, it's not celebrated enough here, and it's not prioritized in the story of coffee. So I think, both of them came through with the level of like, these stories need to be told, and yeah, it was amazing.
And Arthur even, it was funny in his last statements before we were finishing up, he brought up like 3 different topics that I felt could all be individual podcasts just by themselves. He talked about the 80-20 rule with female workers on the farm. He talked about sustainability in general, and that if fair prices aren't paid, farms are going to start being shut down. People are going to walk away from them because they can't make money, and they're going to cut down those farms. And then he talked about the actual impact on the environment that can have, because that creates heaps of carbon emissions. Yet if we have more coffee farms running and working, it's actually helping the environment and pulling that carbon down. So even that was something that I'd never kind of dived into in a really deeper level that I thought was amazing. And of course, listen to the podcast, his whole story about helping Rwanda, being in an industry that he hated and he's now trying to make it better, was really powerful. And he also brought up a point of faces over labels, meaning putting the faces of the people at the farms before just brand names and stories is really important. And obviously that's, very wishful thinking in the broader terms of how it would work. But I think the idea of it is really powerful, and we all need to make effort, both from the roasters through to the consumer, about how to shine more light on these farmers and get them their fair pay.
I think for me, the carbon sequestration point was a really big point, like you alluded to there, Rowan, where he talks about how much, if you keep expanding the coffee network and you keep expanding the farms, you can draw more of the carbon in and actually put it into the ground, which, it may or may not offset the logistics and the transport of coffee all around the world. But it's a good way to look at it as a totality and look at the whole carbon footprint and the whole journey from everything. It's quite, it's amazing the depths that he's gone to, and you can see why he's the sustainability manager for Chobani.
And it's also funny, Sonam, as you're saying that, I'm in the FaceTime app and just a big thumbs up keeps popping up next to your head.
I agree with him.
But just quickly putting a pin in that, if you want to learn more about Arthur and his amazing stories, done symposiums, go watch him on YouTube. Just look up Arthur Carletwa, follow his story. It's incredible. But let's jump back into MICE. So we were just saying before, 31,000 people turned up. It was electric. It felt incredible. One of the big changes this year was that it was open to the general public on all 3 days, whereas normally I believe it's 2 days of industry and then 1 day for the general public. What effect do you think this change had on the show?
I think opening it up to be more inclusive made it a more welcoming show. Really what we want to achieve with MICE is to showcase that the industry is open to everyone who wants to be involved. The public's always been welcome at MICE on that last day, but what we really wanted to do is just show that it's a really accessible industry. We wanted to make sure that consumers and coffee lovers at home could come in and learn about the industry from people in the industry and connect with them as well. People at home making coffee aren't necessarily just consumers. They're the next cafe owners. They're the next restaurant owner. They might be looking to put a machine in their business. All of those are potential trade opportunities for our exhibitors. So really what we wanted to do was just make it a much more inclusive show, which I think we achieved this year. And I think certainly looking at the numbers and the people that came through, it felt really welcoming and fun and really opened up the industry to all of those people who wanted to learn more and find more and make more connections.
Do you think the numbers and also maybe the shift towards the general public, does that reshape the identity of MICE a little bit going forward?
I think MICE is really both a consumer show and a trade show. It will always be B2B at its heart. Obviously, things like Roasters Playground and the masterclasses really opened up the show to welcome more consumers and make them feel more a part of the industry. Those are features we would love to continue. I think everyone can continue learning about new brands to try, ways that they can be upskilling, whether you're a professional with heaps of years of experience or someone just looking to make a great coffee on a Saturday morning in your own home. I think all of those things combined kind of led to what we saw over the weekend at the show.
Could you possibly imagine in the future where you would have maybe Friday or Thursday, Fridays exclusive to trade and then Saturday, Sunday as general public? Because I think the appetite's there for the general public and being able to spread it there over the weekend. Is that something that could possibly happen?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really open to looking at anything. I think talking to our exhibitors or the ones that I was speaking to anyway on site, they did have a couple of really good trade days on Thursday, Friday. The public tends to come in on the Saturday anyway. But yeah, I think just opening it up a bit just made it a bit more welcoming.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can understand that.
Yeah, I think it made it a lot more fun. And I think also the exhibitors that were there kind of lent into that idea by making it amazing. And there were so many great events and things that you could kind of go and see. Those were the exhibitors that really kind of stood out and succeeded, it felt like to me. So jumping into that, let's just talk about, we can all kind of go around the table here and have a little moment. What do we think worked this year to kind of take MICE to that next level? I'll kick us off. I just think, and I've kind of said it for years and it's been there, but the Roasters Playground is, it's a coffee show and people want to try coffee, and having that great kind of smattering of different roasters. And am I correct in saying, were they there once or twice a day in each stand? Was it morning and afternoon shifts?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so on shifts.
Yeah, so for those that weren't there, basically there'd be cafes would take over a little cafe stand for half the day and then a different cafe would jump in. So you were getting to try so many different things, and there were so many roasters from different states that I had never been able to have. And I got to not only try their coffee, but try it represented by them and their team in the way that it's kind of intended. So there was like Kindred Coffee there, which was great. We had Ruben Hills from up in Sydney come down who shared some beautiful coffees with me. And then, of course, some local legends from Melbourne that we all know and love. So to me, that was a really great touch point, and I'd love to see that kind of grow and evolve in the coming years, and I think it will really help the show. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors, Apax Lab. Elevate your coffee experience with Apax Lab mineral concentrates. Apax Lab's precision-engineered formulas, including tonic, jam, and lilac, are designed to enhance the coffee's natural flavors. Not going to change it, it's just going to enhance it. It's going to bring out the vibrant acidity, the rich sweetness, or if you use lilac, it might bring out those delicate floral notes that you've been looking for. Trusted by world-class cafes and even barista champions, Apax Lab helps you unlock your coffee's full potential. Discover more at apaxlab.com. Wait, where was that again, Sonam?
The internet.
Oh, okay. Thought he was going to say the website. Thanks.
Then it's me. All right. I agree, Ro. I really enjoyed seeing that. And also just seeing like a few familiar faces from the podcast, some world champs that we've had the pleasure to come on doing, jumping behind the machines and giving the fans the coffee straight from them. I think was a really beautiful touch across the board, My favorite thing, I think, gosh, there's so many things because I was, jumping on stage. We had a lot of activations at our own stall that I kind of was manning. But I really enjoyed, I guess, connecting with, yes, the roasters, but also the embassies that were there. And, I think there was a level of appreciation from all of them being asked to come up for a little, interview. There was this level of, they were they were so taken back and so willing to give them information, their opinions, and, passionately talk about, the origins of where, their coffee comes from and where they come from as well. All of them, jumping on our socials, being like, oh, when's this coming out? When, all the interviews, and I think if anything, moving forward to give them even more of a platform to allow them to stand out as well. We had a big old stage with big old lights and a crazy wheel and all these entertaining kind of activations from the massage chairs. There was so much. And I think integrating them as much as we can would be the next step. It makes sense. There's so many amazing personalities that are right there and literally from across the world. So, I think that was kind of one of my favorite bits and excited to move forward with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm so greedy. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do it quick too for you. Number 3 was the vibe, electric. Good job. I think what Rowan was saying, everyone walking around, this is MICE. The amount of text messages I got, MICE is back. Good time to jump on MICE. It was just no, we knew what was happening. We knew it was ready. Number 2 was Breville Beans, what they did with their masterclasses and their workshops. I think that giving back to their community. I know they've always been big on doing workshops, doing videos, but what they set up there, bringing Sarah Dooley down as well, who's the face of Beans, that was so generous from them. They didn't have to do it. And I know they did it on a very short turnaround. So the team behind that, well done. Lauren in particular organised all of that. And Candy, you're a superstar. That was awesome. And number 1 for me, really weird. Towards the end of the show, this guy comes up, pulls me aside and he just goes, you Sonam? I'm like, I am. He goes, I just want to tell you, big fan of you on the pod.
Love that for you, Sonam.
He's done it. He's done it.
I'm like, are you sure you're thinking about me? He goes, yeah, man. I love it. You really bring that business approach.
I hate that Rowan guy. It's all about Sonam.
He's like, you really bring that business approach. And, I really love coffee and business. I was like, oh, cool, man. Thanks. I've been on it twice. He goes, yeah, I know. I love it.
I think for me, it's all the activations. I mean, you guys have already kind of touched on it, but, Roasters Playground, like you said, Rowan, made it super interactive and really allowed us to showcase a bunch of different roasters that otherwise wouldn't have the means to be part of MICE. It's a long time to spend away from your business. It can be pretty expensive. So being able to set all that up and have it ready for them to be able to cycle through and also allow all of the roasters to enjoy the show as well was really great. As you touched on, Sonam, the Breville masterclasses were brilliant. I'd love to see more masterclasses across the board, looking at even commercial equipment and upskilling people, letting people touch it would be great. And then our education, I loved this year. We had a lot of really expert speakers come in to talk about things that they were really passionate about. It would be awesome to see that continue to grow. I know at some points the theatre was at maximum capacity. People were hanging around the edges trying to hear what was going on. So I think to see that grow over the next couple of years as well would be brilliant. And then one of the things you touched on, Liam, was those embassies. And what we really want to do moving forward is introduce some new features to help them take part in the show in a more interactive way. So we're looking at things like, we're sort of calling it colloquially in our office, Trip to Origin, where you can go and see the embassies and the coffee boards, talk to the growers, find out more about where your coffee's from, taste it, and really kind of immerse yourself in what they're experiencing every day and learn more about, where coffee actually does come from and who's benefiting from you buying your cup of coffee every morning at your cafe. So that's really important to us too. So we're looking forward to kind of developing that a bit further and introducing it next year.
That's awesome. All I'm hearing is
that's so
more and more it's just coffee involved in MICE. That's what I'm hearing.
We would love to keep partnering with you guys. I can't wait to have you back next year.
Amazing. And that's really interesting that you say that, because that was kind of coming out. Like, one of the things that I wanted to see for next year was, especially after I chatted with Arthur, I think I got really kind of taken by the origin story and the knowing where your coffee is coming from and that side of it. And so I was going to ask, how do we raise those embassy stalls? And for those who weren't there are stalls of different embassies that are origins of coffee. And yeah, they just had nice little stands with information about what they do. But it's hard when they're competing against the likes of Milk Lab, who have this amazing DJ going. They've got Victor Vu, Latte Art Champion. They've got Summer Sensation menus going on. And so there's such a vibe. So, which is incredible for Milk Lab to do. But I'm like, how do we bring that level of excitement to the embassies, or even just a higher level of storytelling, and interactive storytelling? So that's really cool that that's kind of being looked into.
Yeah, I think for us, the biggest thing is kind of creating all these interactive spaces where people can come and really engage. We saw it at the show where, those were the areas that kind of got the most engagement, I guess, when you did have lots of stuff going on and, your stand was incredible with all the things you were doing. The line for it was enormous. I think looking at features like Trip to Origin, what we really want to do is be creating that atmosphere or helping them to, to bring it to the show, and getting more people through means we can build kind of a really cool space where people do really want to come and learn and find out more and, see what's happening over there.
It'd be cool having like a bunch of like the coffee shipping containers like set up in like a big installation in the middle or something, just kind of making it this hub that you want to kind of go to.
Love that idea.
As well. Yeah, it could be really cool. Now I want to jump back just of things that we thought worked. I just wanted to touch on a few of the events and why they worked. Hario held a pour over competition that drew a lot of people in. Our friend of the show, Jamie Thompson, took out second place, so congrats to him. Milk Lab had everything I just talked about, and they also had a barista battle where Ming Wan walked away with the win there. And Breville, of course, not only had the workshops but had competitions to win the Breville machines and also Lelite there as well. But I have a bit of a gripe. Sonam, this is a bit of a thing that I've seen. A lot of competitions to win coffee machines are latte art pour-offs, which makes sense. But I feel like you've just got the same amazing 5 latte artists that are traveling from show to show and event to event, taking out all the wins with these coffee machines, which I guess is great. It's their moment to shine. But I'm like, how do we bring the general public into that comp? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got a fairy tale for you then. So at Lelite, I was part of that with Golden Brown. They did a boss of the booth style, so it's a winner stays on. The person that actually won it came in just happened to time it and come in last to be the last competitor. The person that was next to them had just won 3 in a row, and as they're finishing pouring, dropped their cup. And the person that won it,
are you kidding?
Didn't have the best latte art on the day or even any of the days, and won it purely by default. And the timing was amazing. So there is some mechanisms. There is some mechanisms
well, there.
there.
You go. There you go. That's incredible.
Oh my goodness.
It was a bit of a Bradbury moment, yeah. But that's great. But there's definitely other things that we could look at. We were chatting with the guys from Condesa about doing a different style comp, which is like a MacGyver style comp where it's just like, what can you brew a coffee with? We're giving you no apparatuses whatsoever except for a kettle.
Oh, that's genius.
Kettle and some beans. You have to then fashion it yourself.
Pretty cool. I always like the ones where you've got to taste it. Zest were doing some really cool stuff with, guessing the odd coffee out and those kind of games, which is always a fun one. I feel like that's a different skill altogether, isn't it? Like,
is it just?
Buds.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Was that like the triangular method, kind of like the 3
I think
cups,
they were
2 of the
calling
same
it
ones
Game
different?
of Tongues, perhaps. But
that's
it was
good.
like, you had to guess which coffee was the odd one, or guess which one they were wanting you to find. That was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, in adding to Rowan's gripes, I reckon could have been a lot more filter coffee. A lot more people bringing press pots would have made life a lot easier for everyone. You can brew them up big and you can share out the love. There's plenty of room to go around there.
There were a few people around the show doing it.
Needed more, I reckon. More. Yeah.
No, for sure.
I think not from obviously we're a city that's fueled from espresso and doing that. It was just me. I found myself by 10 o'clock had already had 3 or 4 espressos and was just like buzzed out. Whereas with the filter coffee, to Sonam's point, you could have just a little taster. You could only have pour a 30ml shot, have a sip, go to the next stand, try their coffee. Because I wanted to try everyone's coffee there, and I just simply couldn't.
Yeah, we got to try.
I was buzzed out.
We got to try the Sedan Rume from Code Black, the one that won the recent Brewers Cup in Australia. That was wild, wasn't it? Straight out of the precision brewer, like you put your nose in it, it's just like woofed.
Well, there's plenty of opportunities for people to be involved. If you want to see more of something, please get in touch. I would love to have you in the show.
Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors at Eco Barista. The reason I sound like this is because they got massages at our stand at MICE, and so I'm getting a massage while recording this message for you. They're the best sponsor of the pod that we could have had. They have the best eco products. This probably sounds really pornographic, but it's not. I'm just getting a massage. They have the best eco-friendly coffee products. They got coffee bags that you can design yourself. They got cups. They got iced coffee cups. They got everything you need. So make sure to support them because they support us. Head to ecobarista.com.au and get 15% off your first purchase when you sign up. Oh, mama, that's good. And then finally, just kind of going out, maybe just a little section of like, amazing, what an incredible show. What do we want to see again next year to kind of take it to that next level again? Because I guess we're always trying to improve. So we've talked about the embassies, and that was one thing. I don't know what the logistics are here, and I've just got a quick question for you. There was obviously like amazing food trucks. There was like souvlakis, dumplings, tacos, all this kind of stuff. Is there an issue with the actual vendors giving out food? Because I was like, I want to see some of the cafes / roasteries or whatever that also have a pastry arm or like the breakfast arm. See a little bit of that, like see a little bit of a Baker Blue or Hector's Deli or Loon or whatever it is. Because definitely in the morning after those 3 espressos, I was like, I need some kind of little eggy bacon roll,
I love that idea. I would love to see that at MICE next year. I can definitely take that feedback on board, Rowan.
Yes.
Yeah, Melbourne's a city of so many amazing bakeries now. It's ridiculous that they're not on show.
Liam?
Yeah, you want to go first, Liam? What do you reckon could be done better next year at MICE?
What could be done better? Look, I actually felt bad. Maybe this is from like just this is our first year where we had a stall and where we activated other things. And I think on the onset, like we're a podcast, so it's like it seems like we're not going to be too what's the word? Not too large and in charge and dominating. And we were, directly across from the Slayer stall there that they were doing like little technical demos and like chats and everything. And I had so much fun jumping up and emceeing, and like we'll get into our little keychain story that's in the middle there that ended up going viral. But we had so many lines, and I ended up like, I felt like I was just like yelling at people at times, and I was, straight up through the mic. I was just like trying to get everyone on board and like, drum up as much excitement. But maybe like I would love to do that again. I had so much fun doing that and kind of connecting with people and everything. But maybe if we were placed somewhere else, and again, kind of maybe from the interview side of things, we can kind of make that bigger as well. We only did that one episode with Arthur, but I think it was an absolute success. The people that were there, we timed it just before doors and we did everything really well, but everyone sat down and we're like, it's the first one that we like, we had like speakers out so people could sit and enjoy it. And even our team that were doing the cameras just sat down and just took in the moment and the story. And actually, it was like such a beautiful moment. So I think live podcasts, stories with the embassies, and maybe like location-based kind of, and give that entertainment like MC moment its own space. So I'm not kind of like stepping on anyone's toes.
Yeah, nice. I think from my point of view, I would look at it just more as a consumer side. Like I think maybe with the narrative of the trade show, it'd be cool, like having something that you could follow. And this could bring in the origin, this could bring in the roasters. You could actually just walk around the show and follow the path of coffee, how it travels from crop to cup and all those different steps in between to really spell it out for people, to make education as easy as possible. That could, we can talk about that later. I think that's a great point. what elaborating on what Liam said as well in terms of the podcast and people sitting down with Arthur. I think you guys had managed to coordinate an amazing talk series, and I think some of that may have been lost. It was like great crowds for some of them, but it'd be great for some of them to actually be on our podcast and work together on that. Still working with you guys on it, but just like having maybe Rowan or Liam or myself or whoever's the next host on that with Sarah or whoever else that was on those panels. I think that'd be great as well. And then the last one's kind of a little dig at you guys. An open bar. What's that about?
As in, you didn't like having an open bar, or you want to have an open bar?
We needed to have an open bar at the awards.
Oh, I was going to say, we did happy hour a few times at the show. Weren't you listening?
I missed this. Oh my gosh.
I think for me, things that I'd love to see again next year, more activations. Like that's truly what makes MICE compared to other trade shows, I think, is that the fun, engaging atmosphere, people doing really cool stuff on their stands. There's already a lot of it, but I'd love to see even more. And I'm really excited to kind of chat to people in the industry over the next few months and talk about what that might look like for some people. Because, that really brings MICE to life, I think, is all those really fun activations and people running comps and giveaways and doing really cool stuff on their stands. People can come and get really engaged. That's the most fun part for me.
Well, that's great. Well, I had an absolute blast. I think there was an amazing job. Congratulations putting it all together. It was so much fun. And as well, I think what you're talking about here, that to keep making it better is all about the community and sharing ideas. So anyone listening to the pod who went or didn't, let us know what you'd want to see, what you liked, what you didn't. And we can share that information back with you and the team at MICE. Because, yeah, absolutely. So please write in if you want to do that. It's hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com or hit us on the socials with that. Does anyone else have anything to say about MICE? It was great fun and I can't wait to do it. Oh, wait, you're drinking a coffee. What are you drinking over there? I don't even get to taste it.
Liam, this was handed to you from two places. It's the Amber Koki. It's an Ethiopian carbonic maceration natural. Very light roast, I must admit.
It is a very light roast.
Delicious though.
This absolute sweet gentleman was kind of walking through the crazy halls of the convention center and looked a bit lost. And I was just kind of chatting to someone and I kind of took him under my wing on day one. We were kind of getting there and he was early with us, like with the exhibitors, like he was early. It's the first time he's been to MICE and he was so excited and he actually came back around. He's like, oh my God, Liam, how are you? I want to give you some stuff. Like, thank you for helping me get into MICE. And he was so excited. And so, huge shout out. And, that's, he's one of many people that actually approached us at the stall. So we've got so many things to taste over the next couple pods. And also
wait,
just to
on.
go.
What's this one taste like?
It's good.
Talk about the coffee.
Yeah, it's a carbonic maceration. You definitely taste the process. It's very light, very light. So you're talking like a milk chocolate, brown sugar sort of situation. Yeah. I mean, I prefer a bit more development in my roast. What about you, Liam?
I could go on the acidic side. I love my juicier notes and all those things, but I think that's exactly it. Definitely milk chocolate notes. And it's an easy drinker though. I do like my light roasts. I go towards that way for a filter. And I was just going to say, speaking of filter and speaking of, moving forward, Lauren, I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually going to be going for the World AeroPress Championship.
How exciting.
I don't know how to do that yet, but I'm going to, okay? I'm going in. We actually gave away one of the new double-walled AeroPresses on our stall. Actually, what was so funny was when I interviewed the Minister of Major Events, I got him to spin the wheel. And this was, I had been holding out on the AeroPress all weekend. I'm like, it's going to come back. There's this, for anyone listening, on our wheel, we were giving away canisters, keychains, and this AeroPress was the main event. And I'd been holding out. I interviewed the minister and he's our first spin. And I tell you, we had 2,000 keychains. We ended up giving them away. There's a lot. He spins the first time and hits the AeroPress. And I'm like, and graciously he came back and said, no, I want someone else to win it. But all to say, I'm going to be kind of learning and trialing a few of the the winning brew recipes over there. And, you know, we're going to trial some things. So I think I'm going to lean towards the lighter way. I like that way. I don't like too much.
Thanks to the Honourable Steve Demopoulos, the Minister of Tourism, Major Events and Environment. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Very exciting to have him at the show. He loved it by all accounts. So
Yeah, well, he was a former
super
cafe
exciting.
owner.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Still-
I'd be disappointed if he didn't like it. No, it was great to have him there. We really appreciated him coming down and seeing what MICE had to offer.
Yeah, I mean, a personal checklist moment for me was we actually had Scott Pendlebury. We met with him and it looks like we might be having a podcast with him further
Very
down the
exciting.
line. So that's one for your avid Collingwood supporters.
No.
God Hawks.
Who do you support, Lauren?
You don't follow the football.
That's fair enough.
Oh.
Controversially.
It's an international podcast, so who cares about AFL anyway?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
No, but
anything
that'll
else?
be great because Pendles is a big coffee lover. He's followed all the channels, so he'll be really good to talk to. And I feel like he wants to probably get into the coffee industry in his post-footy life, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely. The man loves an opportunity, that's for sure.
He's been to MICE a couple of times
Yeah.
now.
Well, it's the place to be.
It
There's,
is.
there's no excuse to not come to MICE anymore. Oh my gosh. With a little bit of everything.
Oh, alrighty. I think that just about wraps us up for today's episode of The Coffee Break. Lauren, thanks again for having us at MICE. We love doing it. Hopefully we'll be back next year, make it bigger and better. Thank you for everyone who came and saw us at the show. We loved meeting all of you. Liam, thank you for hosting and standing at that stand for 3 days straight and giving away thousands of key rings. It was a blast. Thank you so much.
One last shout out to Barry and the team at LM for putting all the machinery on the benches for that Roasters Playground. If it wasn't for them, that wouldn't have happened. So that took out a lot of expense of the
Absolutely.
roasters and allowed a lot of you guys to taste all that coffee. So thanks to those guys as well.
I think to all of
Oh, and our friends at Eco Barista, we had massages going on for one of the days there. That was the hottest ticket going
missed
around
that.
MICE.
Yeah, massage was good. I needed that. Day 2 was smart.
We need to do that every day next year. That's a great idea.
we'll be coming past your stand then.
And if keep an eye on the socials because Liam's actually got a bunch of reels with little snippets from across the events and all the different things that we did. And we've also actually got a new Instagram handle, which is...
Yeah, it's just coffee_official. I was actually going to plug that. We've shifted over to an official account. So if you're listening to this and you already think that you follow us, you actually might not. So please come through and click that little follow for us again because you're going to be missing out on all these hot takes and coffee breaks.
It's all about climbing the mountain.
It's true. It's true. Thank you for coming around and to MICE26, hey?
Oh, that's it. Thank you so much for having me.
One round of applause. Yeah. And remember, it's just coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee break.
Coffee break.
yeah. I was like, Sonam, it's coffee break.
second.
It's not. It's just coffee.
Is that not right for this one?
Nah, we'll have it.